Nadeska, we love you. New mom, you know what I'm saying? Is a working mom now. How does it feel, Nadeska? How does it feel?
Finally made it to the club, you know what I mean? But of course, I'm going to miss you guys. I think newborns, apparently it's a lot of work taking care of them those first few weeks. I don't have a lot of experience, so I'm definitely going to take a little time off to figure this out. But I know you guys are going to hold it down. I miss you guys for sure, but don't worry, I'll be back soon enough.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have locked into Rap Life. We're going to talk to Low Key. We're going to talk to Nadeska. What are the most important conversations that are going on in hip-hop right now, as well as run through some of the hottest songs on the playlist. So y'all keep it locked right here. This is Rap Life. Let's spend some time on these charts. Lil Nas X put out a new album. Megan Thee Stallion. He's got Elton John on there. He's got Doja Cat on there. Jack Harlow. He's a lightning rod, to say the least, out there in social and in media. But nonetheless, Drake's Certified Lover Boy, after this first weekend, is still running the charts. And not that I expected Lil Nas X to best Drake in any way, because he's a newer artist, of course. I gotta point out that Lil Nas X has some songs that are definitely competing from his album up against his Drake Certified Lover Boy in the charts. And I think we should salute that for the kid Lil Nas X. That's part one. But part two of the conversation is Low, OVO Low.
Here we go.
Did you expect Drake to run the charts the way he's running the charts right now? Is that an expectation that we should always have with an artist like Drake?
I mean, like I keep telling y'all, the numbers are going to be the numbers when it comes to him. And there's never going to be a decrease in sales for him, because he had like at least 10 songs from his from the album on the top 10. So that just goes, that's the staying power of Drake. He's a numbers guy. He's a streaming king. That's never, ever going to go away. People love him. He's certified. He's going to be the king of the charts. And it's just not going to be a conversation that's not going to be had. We can't, there's no way around that. So yes, I expected him to run it the first week, the second week, the third week, the fourth week, hell, all the way into damn near Thanksgiving. That album is still going to be on the charts. Now, if we're talking about the quality, that's another conversation. But the numbers-wise, the streaming-wise, yeah, it's undebatable.
I went back through the album again, Nadeska. I don't know if you've had a chance to go back into the album. Went back into it again over the weekend. Still, the songs that are great for me are great. I rank in some of the great Drake catalog songs. Like, there's songs on there that are phenomenal. I don't know if you've had a chance to go back into it.
I did. I think my feelings haven't changed. Like, some of the songs you outlined last week are songs that I also really like, but nothing new has grabbed me. The single that we talked about with Future and Thug that we didn't love, I still can't stand listening to that. So nothing has changed for me so far, but I don't know. I'll still give it a few weeks and see. Usually with a Drake album, there's 10 songs at least that I love, from jump. It's not as many on this project for me, but I'll give it some more time.
Nicki, with all of her barbs and followers and everything, was talking about the Met Gala and why she didn't go to the Met Gala, and went into talking about she's not vaxxed, but she might be getting vaxxed because she's going to be going on tour, and if you need to get vaxxed for your job, it's all good. But the thing that sent the vaccine psychos, both pro and anti, and all the politicians and everything into a tizzy, was a story that Nicki Minaj told that she got from her cousin, who got it from his friend. If that's not a recipe for disaster, I don't know what is. At any rate, she told a story that her cousin told her about his friend, that he got the vaccine, not the cousin, but the friend, got the vax in Trinidad, and his body's reaction to the vax was swollen testicles.
And it was so bad that they had to call off the wedding.
And his wife wanted to leave him because he was now impotent. At which point, people then jumped out the window in an outrage. But the hilarity for me was the amount of doctors that were in her comments going, "Ma'am, that is an STD."
That's not true.
At which point, for me, I don't know about y'all, I felt bad for the cousin's friend. Because think about this. The cousin's friend is probably explaining to Nicki's cousin why the wedding wasn't happening, because he was invited to the wedding. and was telling him likely, hey, this is not happening. My wife's leaving me because my balls got swollen because of the vax. Not knowing it's going to make its way all in Nicki Minaj and then become an international conversation about swollen testicles.
Yeah, late night TV, so that guy, Stephen Colbert, everything. Like, this is like the worst case scenario for that poor guy.
I don't know how it reached Fox News. I don't know how she was on with Tucker Carlson or whatever his name is.
Because it's Nicki Minaj.
But she was wrong. It was an STD.
Well, let's say it like this. There's no evidence. There's no reliable evidence to support what her cousin claimed his friend said. People came for Nicki, but Nicki was just sharing with the audience. But in true Nicki Minaj fashion, she not gonna back down from a fight. So people started coming for her. So Nicki started firing back. Verzuz. Let's start with Fat Joe and Ja Rule. Watching it on Verzuz, watching it on Triller, Ja Rule, I think, bested Fat Joe on the stage with the performance and the connection to the audience. Anybody disagree here?
Nah, I agree.
Yeah. It was like hit after hit after hit.
Yeah.
Song for song, for me, I had it broke down as a tie. Song for song. Because I think there was some songs that Fat Joe chose to play that left it open for Ja Rule. But also, I prefaced that by saying I wasn't the biggest Ja Rule fan when those songs were popular. I liked the songs on the radio, but I wasn't like a Ja Rule fan. Nadeska, I don't know about you, but for me, listening to the songs, there's records from Joe that I love way more than I love Ja Rule songs. But then there's a couple of Ja Rule songs that are they're just hits, and it is what it is. Joe couldn't have beat him.
So what about points when like Fat Joe played Still Not a Player? So songs that he wasn't really on, but he produced. Like, how do you score around like that?
That
was gonna take me into the JD Diddy conversation, because once we start getting into those semantics of like he executive produced, but he didn't actually, program the drums. Right. You know what I mean? Or he didn't actually appear on it. When you get into the Jermaine Dupri Diddy conversation, are we still going to be, what are we going to do there? You know what I'm saying?
That's a whole different thing, isn't it?
That's a different. Well, see, all right, the difference between these two battles is, one, Fat Joe and Ja Rule are artists. Not to say JD and Puff aren't, but we were there to hear their songs. To see them perform their songs. So I do take a point away from Fat Joe when he did the Still Not a Player, even though he produced it or whatever he did with it. I can't count that. Now, when we talk about Puff and JD, what boundaries are we using? Are we using,
right,
did you write the song?
I don't know.
Yeah. Like, again, this is speculation.
I don't know.
Did you write it? Did you produce it? Are you on it? Are you a part of the album? How are we grading that? So that's the conversation we need to have with those two. When it comes to Fat Joe and Ja Rule, give me your hits, give me your singles, give me your verses, give me your remixes. I don't want to hear no shit you produce.
But see, that wasn't. Who said that? Where was that written? Joe couldn't bring up.
But I think, again, because most of the songs were them just playing as artists. If we're going, if Diddy and Dre or JD are going up against each other, that's a whole different thing. It's like when the producers, people like Neo were on. Did they play solo songs? Anyway, real quick, just to wrap up, like this one, this was just like fun because obviously they're like friends in real life, but I love the banter. It felt like if I was watching Ebro and Low Key do Verzuz, like if, they were artists, like Ebro, telling Lil, like him telling Ja Rule,
I would go too far.
You weren't outside when I dropped this record. Like
I would probably go too far, like Fat Joe did, and call Lowe's friends dusty bitches and have to apologize afterwards.
But listen, like, don't get it twisted. Yeah, it'll be friendly banter, but like I can go too far as well. I have a slick mouth. I can get disrespectful. I can go there if I have to go there.
But then at the end of it, you guys will still hug it out and say that hip hop won. So I would say, like, this is one of those, like, Ebro, like you always say, more of like a celebration. It was no real beef. At the end, it was just cool how they closed out. But it was just some fun moments. But for me, I'm not going to say like I was ever like a super Ja Rule fan like that, but that was like a moment when I was young. I was like still in school, and those songs for me were songs I heard and listened to every single day. So I enjoyed Ja Rule's presence more than I did Joe.
I think what happened with Fat Joe is coming off the Locks and Dipset battle, he tried to take the Jadakiss approach. I think he tried to out-rap Ja Rule, which took away from his performance. Not to say like, you know, he got dusted, but it was like he could have chose better songs. He could have chose better moments. And I think he just wanted a moment. Like Jadakiss got that moment. And it backfired. It didn't work as well as he thought it would.
Now back to JD and Diddy.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we'll ever get it. We don't know if it'll ever happen. But let's just play along. I want to go on record for everybody thinking that Diddy is just going to wash JD. You're playing yourself. Jermaine Dupri got hammers. And he's a legit songwriter and producer in ways that maybe, I don't know if Diddy goes to the levels Jermaine goes with the songwriting. And then when it comes to the rapping, JD is a better rapper than Diddy, y'all. I hate to break it to y'all.
You're not wrong.
That's the first time I heard that. That's the first time I heard that.
Because people ain't thinking about JD as a rapper.
Or Diddy, really.
Again, all right, I mean, again, how do we judge this battle? And if it's a versus, it's going to be more than 20 songs. Because of the features, because of the remixes, because of the solo cuts, because of the album cuts, the group cuts. There's so much
Nah, it's
like,
got to be 20. It's got to be 20. It's got to be 20.
That's unfair.
But then you would have to put some rules or limits, but no one does that, right? You can't just start putting rules on verses now at this point.
Yeah, you can't do that with them.
I mean, I think it's got to be 20 to force people to focus.
Okay.
B, your name has to be on the production credits. Can't just be on your label. Your name has to be on the production credits. Okay. And or you performed on the song.
Okay.
Still a lot of songs.
It's a lot of songs, but that'll force people, like, because there's things that I don't think an executive producer of an album gets on all production credits. You just don't. So that'll force, where Diddy was the executive producer on albums, that'll force his name to be like, no, I produced on this record, or I wrote on this record.
That's a good point, because that would take him all the way up to like Burna Boy's album like last year or something, which would be a little bit too much. Okay. All right, carry on.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And same thing with Jermaine. Like, it couldn't just be on So Def Records. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it would have to be, you would have to say, produced by Jermaine Dupri, or, co-written or something. Your name has to be in the production credits. And I think once you narrow that focus down, I think that changes the dynamic dramatically.
Now the question is, will they agree to that? And I don't think Puff will.
It's all speculation. I don't even. Yeah. Right now, Puff won't even agree to the verses. He wants Dr. Dre.
I mean, do you guys think him and Dre would be a better matchup though than JD?
No. That's on brand. That's not like, if you break down the music between Dre and Puff, that's not a good comparison, because Dre's R&B game is not as strong as Puff's R&B game. So there's going to be a mismatch throughout the entire thing. Now, when you put Jermaine and Puff in the same room, that's more equal. They do the same kind of shit. Dre and Puff don't. And honestly, I think Dre wins that one, if we keep it in the buck.
I mean, the R&B joints, but man, Dre produces.
That's what I'm saying. Dre wins that.
Dre coming with them Pac records, them Snoop records, them Eminems.
And the NWA records.
And if he goes all the way back, he going all the way back. You know what I mean? Plus, technically, I think he's got some production credit on Kendrick too, doesn't he?
He definitely does.
You guys think this is a situation where Diddy just doesn't actually really want to do this? I feel like we've had this conversation about someone like Drake or Jay. He probably just doesn't really want to bother.
Yeah, I do think he wants to remind people of what he's done over his legacy. And I think that sometimes we do forget as we get older, and the younger generation pretty much doesn't know the effect of what he's had on the game, R&B and hip hop wise. So I do think he wants to put his stamp like, I'm still one of the GOATs. I'm still one of the greats. And I think this is a perfect opportunity for him to showcase that. And I think JD respects him so much. He's like, just pick the date. We don't have to do this internet shit. We don't have to get on, Fat Joe's Oprah, whatever he calls his podcast. We don't have to do that. We can set it up in New York, Atlanta, Miami, LA, wherever. And I think
gotta be a neutral location. Has to be a neutral location.
So LA
has to be.
LA.
LA would be the best bet. I think Diddy
LA.
and JD in LA is the best neutral location scenario. I was gonna say maybe even Miami, but probably more. I think LA.
Yeah. So LA is a great location for it, but I do think this is an opportune time for Puff to get his flowers. We've always given his flowers, but I think this is the perfect opportunity to show his arm and his length. And I think JD respects him so much to do that like, come on, let's have a party. But you're not going to sleep on me, and you're not going to tell me I'm not nice either.
Here's the other piece that I think makes it complicated for Puff. Puff, like Lo just pointed out, the brand of Diddy, the bigness of Diddy, the mystique, the entrepreneur, is it the billionaire, this guy that's larger than life. There's a piece of me that feels like Puff doesn't look at Jermaine, that he's on his level as far as an icon, celebrity icon, in the same way. Jermaine is in it for the culture. He still does the reality shows with the young rappers and the young kids. He's still very much, you know what I mean? Like Jermaine just loves being in it. Puff positions himself in a higher plane in many ways. You know what I mean? And I think there's a piece of this that I think that's why Puff keeps saying Dre. Because it can't just be he's saying Dre because of the music.
Puff is a bigger star than Jermaine, but they have this same kind of star quality when it comes to performing. Dr. Dre is not that kind of star. Dr. Dre is more of an icon, more of an innovator. Not to say the other two aren't, but to sit and watch.
But he's very reclusive, right? You don't think of Dre as being that outgoing person who's dating other celebrities, who's getting spoofed on Chappelle's show. He's not that kind of person.
He's to himself. Right. He handles his business. He does what he does, and boom, he stays out the way. He's never in no bullshit. Those two are just synonymous in how they live their lives, how they had, the celebrity relationships, the issues with the label. There's a lot of things that line up with Jermaine and Puff to make it full circle with a battle like this. I don't want to see Puff and Dre staying next to each other.
Puff will not grab a microphone on a stage in front of people without it being, he gonna need the whole shit. Lil Kim gonna have to come out. There's gonna be a Biggie hologram. It's gotta be, it can't just be regular. Right. That's the other part. Jermaine is a DJ. He'll get up there and rock the crowd and be good. Dre and Puff will have to be on the top of skyscrapers. One person on a skyscraper in New York, another person on a skyscraper in LA, with audiences and boats. So they're going to have to be on yachts in the I don't know. It's going to have to be some
you're
other
right. Diddy's definitely going to do the Garden, and he's not going to do the Hulu Theater at the Garden. It's going to be the actual Garden. It's not going to be LA. You got a good point. They would have to start planning this now, and maybe we could get it next summer. It's going to be a lot.
I know JD is all the way down for it, so it's just...
Yo, Puff, you got to do it for the people, man. You got to do it for the people, bro.
Dre's not coming on that stage, Puff. Let that go. Dre's not doing it. Just let it go, man.
Yo, and as of now, neither is Puff.
Puff's scared.
Word.
Puff's scared. Puff's scared.
Yo, Diddy, they saying you scared, B.
He's scared of JD.
It's got crazy. Before we get out of here, Nadeska, we love you. New mom, you know what I'm saying? Is a working mom now. How does it feel, Nadeska? How does it feel?
Finally made it to the club, you know what I mean? But of course, I'm going to miss you guys. I think newborns, apparently it's a lot of work taking care of them those first few weeks. I don't have a lot of experience, so I'm definitely going to take a little time off to figure this out. But I know you guys are going to hold it down. I miss you guys for sure, but don't worry, I'll be back soon enough.
Listen, I don't think they give moms enough time. So take your time. We here. We love you. You know what I'm saying? We'll wait for you to get back for sure. Yep. Hopefully we're still employed without you. You know what I'm saying? Because they might put the whole show on hiatus. Yo ass going, they'll be like, yo, nah, this is trash. Why don't y'all just pack it up until Nadeska come back?
Nah, man, look, I'm lucky to have men that I work with who are so supportive. I don't think all women are that blessed. So it's appreciated, and I love you guys. You're going to be fine. They'll keep you around. Don't worry.
We got your back, man. We got your back. We love you. Stay healthy.
Well,
have fun.
And be prepared. Be prepared for when you come back. You know, we're going to have questions, right? Because I think for moms, right, like, I think we're lucky and blessed to live in an era where we get to actually see so many actively working moms in entertainment. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of working moms out there who are toughing it out every day, and they don't really get celebrated for how hard it is to be not only pregnant and working, but then to have to leave the kids at home and go to work and come back home and get ready and da-da-da. And I think in the last 10 years, it's been a really awesome thing to see the Beyoncés and the Cardi B's and the Nicki Minaj's and all the other working moms. I'm sure I'm leaving some people out that share with the world the fact that they're really trying to balance work and parenting. So we're going to have some questions when you come back. For Nadeska and Lo, I'm Ebro. That's the Rap Life Review. Nadeska, we love you. Have great time. Get as much sleep as you can while you can. Because listen, that's the right. That lack of sleep, listen, different.